Consciousness levels. Topics discussed will be consciousness levels, lessons and mistakes, and trauma hidden in consciousness. First up, consciousness levels. Have you ever looked back on yourself a few years prior and thought, oh, what a stupid little being I was? Maturity, awareness just wasn't there yet. You were unconscious to the things that you know today. This explains a shift in consciousness levels. The feeling as though you're completely different to who you were a few years ago. It is as though life is broken down into 3-year periods. At 21, you will have a different consciousness to when you're 18, and then again when comparing 18 to 15. Life travels through a series of stages in consciousness, each stage having its own lessons and mistakes. These lessons and mistakes being in accordance with your mindset and abilities during that stage in your life. This brings us to lessons and mistakes. Each lesson and mistake sets us up to develop into our next stage of consciousness. We learn this lesson here so that we do not have to relearn it here. We make a mistake now so that we don't make the same mistake years from now. That mistake opens an awareness which allows our next stage of consciousness to be prepared or immune to making that same mistake going forward. It goes like this. New lessons elicit new thought. New thought transpires to new consciousness. New consciousness attains a new level of awareness. This is how the process proceeds throughout your life. Lessons happen naturally, or we can voluntarily choose which lessons to undertake, as the course you study, the books you read, the talents you learn, and the people you interact with will all trigger altered, more awakened consciousness in years to come. Mistakes will happen too. Mistakes are designed to shine light on our inadequacies. We make mistakes in stages of consciousness where we are unprepared to not make that mistake. People hold on to past mistakes like they should have done better. Well, possibly, but you'll do better now, won't you? And that's what truly matters. You have awakened a little more consciousness. Our arsenal goes under considerable development with each mistake we make. If I told you that your first 2 businesses would fail, but your third would give you financial freedom, would you start the first? If the first 3 people you asked out, you would face brutal rejection, but the 4th would be your soulmate for life, what would you do? Lessons and mistakes which happen in your current stage of consciousness contribute to future stages of consciousness, whereas lessons and mistakes which have happened in previous stages of consciousness contribute to your current level of consciousness today. Now we have trauma hidden in consciousness levels. Picture trauma like a leech. It attaches itself in one stage of consciousness, then throughout the years it carries over into the next and into the next until it has been so lost to the depth of consciousness that that trauma has become a part of you. A traumatic experience ensures at an earlier stage in consciousness, say a stage of consciousness where you're younger, less prepared, less knowledgeable, and less resilient. This young mind, yet capable of defense mechanisms in dealing with adversity, is sent into despair. They can't cope with the situation. To cope, addiction befalls, bad habits arise, confidence diminishes. This lower stage of consciousness has been severely damaged. Trauma is not just the event which happens to someone, but also all that results from that event in the future. When you're a little older, your next stage in consciousness will still have underlying themes of this trauma: isolation, sadness, addiction, anger. This trauma submerges itself into your personality. The mist of new consciousness buries the trauma here unresolved at a stage of consciousness where you couldn't resolve it, and now this impacted stage continues to affect all the consciousness levels going up in your life. What you need to realize is you are not your trauma. It happened at a period in your life where you did not have the experience or awareness to deal with the adversity that was taking place at that time in your life. With time and awareness, look back on where this trauma resides. Go back to the place or the consciousness level where this event took place. Note the habits and reactions which befell you at that time, and assess if they still project themselves today. Strip the leeches of their power over you and correct these bad habits with the new level of consciousness you have today. Use the higher level of consciousness that you have today at a more mature age, higher age, and use it to resolve the issues that were left unresolved in lower levels of consciousness. Thank you for watching once again. I know this topic can be a little confusing, so read the full blog at ponderknowledge.com, and thank you for watching. Thanks for all the support as well. See ya.